I'm live, obviously from not our home. I'm in an amazing hotel here in Vegas, and I'm answering your questions. As promised, this one today is, can contemporary Pilates be done on classical equipment? So first of all, I just absolutely love going over questions like this with you. Thank you so much for being amazing and sending these into us. It's really absolutely it's fun. It's fun because when I get to read your questions and I get to talk about them with you guys, I get to understand more of what you need. So thank you for sending them in. Um, this one is, can contemporary Pilates be done in classical equipment? And I really like this question. We actually have a ton of OPC members who have contemporary equipment. And at OPC, we focus on the classical uh, concepts and order. So what that means is, like, Joseph Pilates had an order. He had orders on the mat and the reformer, not on the one to chair tower or Cadillac, and spine corrector and stuff like that. But he has an order, right? And so first of all, on contemporary equipment, you can absolutely follow the order. So that's one way you can actually, like, get into a classical practice of some kind of added in. You can just actually just follow the order. But depending on what equipment you have, you might want to change how you set it up. And that is going to be key, because oftentimes contemporary equipment, the ropes are pulled really taut, and a lot of people focus on lighter springs. And so we'll want to actually address that. So I'm going to address it by equipment by equipment. We'll start with the reformer first. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them. Also, at OPC, we actually have videos of how to take contemporary equipment and set it up for classical exercises. So if that's something you want to see visually, definitely hit us up when you're an OPC member, and we'll make sure you can see how that all works out. So on the mat, the obviously, if you're not able to invest in a classical mat that has a strap and has a pretty firm uh, padding and it has handles, what you can do is make sure you're using an 8 to 10 millimeter mat, thickness and mat. Make sure you have a magic circle to push out on to get the outer hips to work for the roll up and the neck pull. And have a dowel or a heavy duty TheraBand nearby that you can pull apart to help you have that reach from your upper back to do overhead exercises. Sheila just replaced her cheap reformer springs with garrote springs. Yeah, that's so cool. Depending on the equipment you're using, you might not be able to add classical springs to a contemporary piece of equipment. So it's just something, like, to note. Like, I don't know that will always work for everyone. I know that, like, that Contrology springs will often fit on other classical pieces, but not necessarily on other contemporary pieces. So I'm glad that that worked out for you, Just Shills. On the reformer, you definitely want to be using more of the medium to heavier springs. You will not be able to create the slackness in the springs where you actually have to bring the equipment home. But there are some equipment manufacturers that have classical kits that can actually make the wheels feel a little muddier, meaning you have to, like, pull them in a little bit more. You'll want to lengthen your straps. You want them to be longer. Oh, look, Brad's on, and he put a link up about all the different perks that you have for OPC, and that's where these videos are, to show you how long to make the straps. If you're using risers, you'll want to drop the risers. It'll still be a couple inches higher than where a classical leather strap would be, but you can absolutely drop the straps, and that's going to help with the angle, right? Because the thing about where the strap is on the riser affects where that spring tension hits a body. It's physics. And I wish I could tell you which law of physics, but I skipped that class in school. So this is what I know, though. The angles matter. So you want to drop the risers, lengthen the straps. You want to add handles. So you're using handles instead of loops in the hands. That's going to give you a more classical feel on contemporary equipment. The foot bar, you're going to want to make sure it's at an angle, not too vertical, because that's going to help you get more into the back of your legs to get that classical feel in your footwork. And I tend to use, like, 3 reds and a blue for footwork, maybe a green and 2 reds. I might use. I like to go a little heavier, because classically you'll use 3 or 4 springs for footwork on 100. When I'm using 2 springs, I'll use a heavy and a medium. Unless someone's quite petite, I wouldn't use 2 mediums. And then I like to use a medium spring when I'm doing 1 spring stuff, and that's just because um, the heavier spring is a little too heavy on the pull, and I feel like people end up muscling it versus working with it, and then it kind of pulls in too quickly. So the medium spring I really like, but that's also going to depend on the body I'm working with. Um, So there's that. Headrest up for footwork. That's a classical thing you can consider doing because it actually helps you get into your upper abdominals while you're warming up. Making your short box not so tall is going to be really helpful. That's gonna be really helpful because those bigger boxes do make it really harder to use. And so yeah, you can do that. Sheila said, I'm so glad you dropped the risers. It's been a game changer. I'm looking to replace with handles as well. Yeah, just order some handles. Patty asked, how do I know if my equipment is classical? Classical equipment has leather straps versus ropes. Pretty much like how you can, that's the easiest way to figure it out. And then, so this is all the different ways you can like set up contemporary equipment to be classical, but can you do contemporary applies on classical equipment? You can. It's harder. And here's what I'll say, like most of the exercises will work, but a lot of the asymmetrical work uh with like if you see things done with ropes and they're doing things on a yellow spring, that's a light spring for everyone who's wondering. The leather straps don't are going to be harder to pull. They're not going to be as easy as a rope. And the classical springs are all the same weight. Now, that being said, because Sheila said, well, springs aren't usually colored either ish. Centerline is classical equipment. It has leather straps. It has colorful springs. So, that's the harder one. I just usually go with has leather straps, it's classical. And can you do contemporary exercises most of the time, except for when you're doing things off the sides of the reformer, like if you're doing a standing lunge and you're pulling with one strap, it's not going to go so well. If you need to use lighter springs for sure, not going to go so well. That doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just going to be challenging. The springs on classical equipment often because they're all the same weight, if they have that slack at the end, you have to close the spring. And so if the exercise uh, doesn't include that, it could also be a bit more frustrating. So absolutely, you can do contemporary exercise on class equipment. You just might feel limited in the same way that a classical person could feel a little limited on contemporary. Does that mean that either is better? Um, no, doesn't. Actually, it depends on how you like to move. I particularly like the order. I like having that certainty. I like being able to compare myself to myself. And I like I like using Joseph Plies intentions and exercises to just get more curious in my practice and my clients' practice. Some people don't like that. They don't want that at all. And so you really have to decide what you want. But what I will say is like if you want to do contemporary exercises and you're buying equipment, buy contemporary equipment. If you're wanting to do classical work and you're buying equipment, buy classical equipment. If you are contemporary or if you have classical equipment already and you're wanting to be more contemporary, then do what you can and save up and watch out for amazing used deals on what you're wanting and sell what you have, right? You can get great prices for it. Um, and if like vice versa, if you have contemporary equipment, I have a lot of people do my mentorship program. They come through because they train with contemporary Pilates or classical, but they often have contemporary equipment. And as we work together, I help them adjust how the springs are, how the foot, all the different stuff until they have a buyer for their equipment and have saved up to do a replacement. So it is. Here's the thing that's so cool about Pilates equipment, you guys. It absolutely holds its value. There are great ways to sell it for what you paid minus tax and shipping, or maybe like 10% less. And then you can get what you want. And so I would just say, like, if that's you, reach out to us. If you haven't worked with Balanced Body or Contrology, we can help you with our discount. If it's been many years, we can help you with our discount. So you can get the things you want. But please, 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 like if you are trying to be classical and contemporary equipment, don't get too caught up in being frustrated with what you have, what you're able to do. Just focus on what you can do. It's the same mantra I have for when you do Pilates. And if you are trying to do contemporary stuff and you're on classical equipment, again, focus on what you can do because there's still a lot that can be done. And I also just think that like people who teach on the other styles equipment have a bit more education and creativity and curiosity than people who only know one style and only teach on one style. So while I don't know contemporary Pilates very well, I on my tours I teach on contemporary equipment all the time. And I see what classical exercises I can do, and we focus on that, and we have a lot of fun being curious. And I would say the vice versa can be very true. And so let's not get bogged down by like which one is better, and instead let's focus on like what what makes you light up if you're a teacher, what makes you feel good if you're in practice, and then like know that you're allowed to like that and feel good in that, and someone else can like the opposite, and both can be true, right? Jeanette said, love your responses for enjoying the classical method, comparing me to me, exploring my movement changes over time. It's so fun. You guys, here's the deal. I want you to know that I do a retreat with Brad in Cambodia at our house. And if you are wanting to just nerd out about mat Pilates, being curious in your body, and see the most amazing parts of this world, I hope you come with us. You know, it's not every day you can go to Cambodia. And it's a fabulous place. And we spent a week together. And I know you might be thinking, oh my God, it's so far. Guess what? All you have to do is sign up and buy your plane ticket. We literally help you get the visa. We pick you up at the airport. We take care of where you sleep and what you eat and the whole schedule for every day. All you have to do is show up. So I really would love for you to come. We've done 10 retreats there, so this is not our first rodeo. And it's a way for us all to just get to know each other more and answer a ton of your questions there. And I can actually like help you with your personal practice. It's really a lot of fun. And you can bring people who don't do Pilates because there's tickets for them to just do the experiences. So definitely go to crowsnestretreats.com to snag your spot for October. It's a beautiful time of year to go. Uh, and thank you so much for these amazing questions. Again, if you are an OPC member, we have videos on how to adjust all of your contemporary equipment to be in that classical setup so you can actually feel the exercises that we're doing. I actually give feedback on your form. So you can actually film yourself doing an exercise and I can tell you, oh, yeah, actually, no, change that spring or actually do it like this. So you're not alone, right? Just because it's on demand doesn't mean that you're on your own. You get to have the best of both worlds. So thank you all so much. I'm so sorry I don't have a tripod. I'm clearly in a hotel. You're amazing. By the way, it's my birthday. So thanks for celebrating with me, and thanks for being amazing. And if my videos have ever been helpful to you in any way, in lieu of gifts, please donate to a charity that means the world to you that can change someone's life. Thank you so much, and have an amazing